Now you're playing with podcast.
Welcome to episode 10 of Now You're Playing with Podcast. I'm Chris. On this episode, Tatton and Becky and I interview Jesse, the owner of Arcade Legacy in Cincinnati. It's one of the retro arcades that have made a comeback in several cities. You know, the pay a fee and get an hour or unlimited play instead of the arcade being open to everybody and dump your quarters into the individual machines. The machines are free, you just pay your entry fee. So we'll talk to Jesse about favorite arcade games and all those other subjects you want to know about. And thanks for listening.
And go.
All right, we are here. Welcome to this episode. We are here with Jesse, the owner of Arcade Legacy in Cincinnati. Recently just made a big move from like an industrial park, small location, to a big space in a mall, and it looks like business is buzzing. So thanks for agreeing to do our show and coming in early to talk to us.
Certainly.
I guess we'll just ask the typical question here. How did you get into the arcade business?
Well, it wasn't single-handedly. I did have a partner at first.
Yeah.
But, we were brainstorming one day. He was over in Iraq and Afghanistan fighting the war, and we had both been just kind of saving money, and we were like, let's do something when you get back. And we were both always going to the arcades when we were younger, and we were just like, there's definitely no like logic to it. We were just like, let's do this because we want to do it. There was no, we didn't have anything to compare it to. There was just Dave & Buster's and GameWorks and stuff like that. All the other arcades were gone. So we just waited till we had the funds to do it because we knew no bank would support an arcade. It was, there's no numbers to give them to prove that we could be successful. So we just, it took us about 3 years. We collected games and we just went for it.
Prior to this, were you into like collecting arcade cabinets?
I'd never had one personally.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I had always wanted a Smash TV, and that was actually one of the first games that we sought out because that was always my favorite arcade game. So I had that in my house for about 3 years before we opened because that was one of the first ones I bought. So that was awesome.
Did you buy it for $1?
No.
Okay.
I wish. It was reasonable. Yeah. And I've never seen another one since then, so I'm glad that I got a hold of it. So it's weird. There's like you'll see a game, you should snatch it up because if it's something you want, you'll never know. It could be years and years before you ever see the game again.
We know from collecting just console stuff that's true
right.
too. So the business model with pay a one-time fee or by the hour, that seems to be taking over the country. Does that did you invent that, or did you find that from somebody?
Well, no, we didn't hear of any place doing that. We didn't know that there was. We looked up online and didn't see anybody that was doing it at that time. But it was my older brother. He was like, it was actually like 2 weeks before we opened. We had put coin mechs in all the machines. We were ready to go with coins. And he's like, why don't you just do this? And my partner was hesitant at first, and then we were weighing the pros and cons of that, and it just seemed like it made way more sense. And everybody that walked in was like, wow, that's a great idea. It's a great concept.
Yeah, because maintenance-wise, you don't have the fuckheads banging on the machines and stuff. And
yeah, that's true.
That's what I remember growing up.
Right, you keep out all the people who don't really want to be there to play because they have to pay to get in. So that's nice.
Plus, you've got drinks and beverages and stuff in the front, so that you can still make some extra money with people in here. And then,
sure.
With a lot of the games, like Smash TV, the Sunset Riders, like the Battletoads, it gives them the opportunity to come in and play through the whole game at once. And where they might only play it once or twice or whatever, you probably get more money with the entry fee than you would actually taking the quarters for all of it.
Yeah, for most people. I mean, some people really get their money's worth. They'll come when we open and leave when we close. So
which is awesome.
Yeah. So that option's there, and then we do offer the hourly now, which we didn't at first, and it just seemed like a lot of people would want to just play a few games and leave. So now we give them that option, and it's great because we get a lot more customers, and then they might come back the next time realizing that 1 hour is not enough time at an arcade.
Definitely.
Did you start the storefront at the same time that you started your first arcade, or
no? The first arcade just had a little glass case with a few things in it, soundtracks. We just didn't have the room because we had 60 arcade games smashed into a space half the size we have now. So I actually had all the stock and everything because I've been selling online for years, and I always wanted to do the store, but my partner didn't. So seeing that we were both part of the business, I had to kind of, we had to compromise on some things, and that was one of them. So when he decided to get out of the business, that was the perfect opportunity for me to do that. And since then, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, it
What's
looks really
the
successful.
ratio? Is it 50-50, or what part of the business drives it?
Since I moved here, it seems like sometimes it's even more with the store than it is with the arcade.
Right.
Like during the week, it seems like I do more in the store than the arcade, and during the weekends, more in the arcade. So yeah, I'd say probably it ends up evening out 50-50.
Oh,
so
you do the store right. I mean, the focusing on the imports and not spitting on old stuff. I mean, everybody's got a few Nintendo games here and there, or a few Genesis games, but the fact that you cater to the import crowd.
That's where we got a bunch of our great imports.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to carry stuff that other places don't, because what's the point of coming to a place if everyone has all the same stuff?
Right. What are crazy trade-ins so far, or anything?
Oh man, well, I try to pay more than all the other stores around town, so people have been telling all their other friends who have good stuff to come here. So I've been getting all the good stuff. I'm friends with the other store, most of the people that work at the other stores, and they're all like, "We don't get any good stuff anymore," because they all bring me their good RPGs and the imports and stuff like
When
that.
you get 500 and a bunch of games.
Yeah. Which was awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
So how did the fighting game scene take off? Were you a big fighting game fan when you first opened, or that organic?
That's been my favorite genre of video games since Street Fighter 2.
Mm-hmm.
Super Nintendo, Street Fighter 2 was like one of the best days of my life when that came out. I saved my $70, which was ridiculous at that time, for Street Fighter 2. But they actually came to me. They found out the arcade was opening. They saw that I had a bunch of fighting games, and they came to me and said, "We need a place to do tournaments and stuff." And I'd already planned on doing tournaments, but I had never done it before, so I didn't know anything about it. But they came, they helped me, they said, this is the format you need to run, this is how we need to do it, and they just helped it grow into what it is now, which is huge. So it's awesome. Those people were always there, they just didn't have a central place to meet up.
Right.
And now they do.
It seems kind of funny that that's like one of the big genres that is, because I kind of thought fighting games was just like a Japanophile thing, and then all of a sudden, I guess Street Fighter 4, it's burgeoned again. And the game store I worked at a few years ago, Smash Brothers was really big.
Still is, actually.
Still is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just had a tournament last weekend, and they got more people than they expect, which happens almost every Smash tournament.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it still the GameCube one? Is like Smash Brothers Prime?
No, it's Brawl on the Wii.
Okay.
They play Melee a little bit, but not competitively for the most part.
Gotcha.
So how do you feel being in the same mall that once held Time Out on the Court and Wonder Park?
Well, I wasn't really a fan of Wonder Park, but I did really love Time Out on the Court. We used to come here like at least 3 or 4 times a month. We'd come, even without money, just to watch people play like Mortal Kombat.
First time I saw Mortal Kombat was
me too. And I would just watch them because I wanted to wait for that fatality, of course.
Where was it exactly in here? I mean, it's
right next to the movie theater. If you were leaving this arcade, you would take a left, walk a few steps. Right now, it's bathrooms. They turned it in. But where the bathrooms
We're shitting on where Mortal Kombat was.
Exactly. Or Holosseum.
They had a time traveler too.
Yeah, time traveler. And they changed it to Holosseum. Very few arcades had that, so that was like cutting edge for them to have. That was pretty cool.
Did they have a mini golf?
Oh, that's where I am. I am on the mini golf.
Mini golf.
Yes.
I'm probably right where the giant pool ball was.
That's awesome.
Yes,
that's super cool.
I mean, okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how long did it take you from when you opened the first arcade to get to the point where you really had the community that you built? I mean, because I think even more than just inviting the fighting games folks to come in and fight here, you definitely are a very integral part of the gaming community. For the folks who come here, the last time we came, there were 3 or 4 people deep lined up to play table tennis with you. I mean, how long did it take you to build that?
Well, the first arcade, we were there for a year, and it really did pretty poorly, actually. Between having to split the income with 2 people, we were making pennies, and that's the reason he left. And he couldn't live off that. And luckily, I had my online business to support me besides the meager income from the arcade. But the fighting game community really kept us alive for that first year, because they were there every week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week for tournaments and just casuals. And then the second place, it just seemed like once we moved and had more space, I don't know why, we didn't really do anything different, as far as advertising. It just people just started coming more often, and more people started coming. It wasn't a better location; it was actually a worse as far as exposure, as far as like
Finding
visibility.
We passed it up going, I think 2 different times.
Yeah.
Oh, the crap! There it is in the turnaround of the street.
But I think just the time being open long enough to where the word starts spreading helps, and then finally we this opportunity was just thrown at me. She called me and said, "Move over here," and I was hesitant because obviously this mall is not kicking.
No,
but she gave me an amazing deal, and it was one of those like once in a lifetime things you can't pass up, and it's been very incredible since then.
Well, it's super nice to have something in the mall to come to now.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this mall, it's been sad watching the mall die itself,
Yeah.
but to have some, a destination point. And the days that it's hopping, golly pants. There's everybody in here and Windjammers tournaments. And
Yeah, we try to keep it hopping all the time. Even when we don't have events, it seems like it almost works out. Like the days that we have events, it's a little slower than usual, but the days we don't, it's like slamming just from regular customers. I don't know if they read our website and they're like, oh, there's a tournament, well, we'll just wait. I don't know, but
isn't it almost better that way though, to
Oh,
not
yeah,
have all
it's
the
great.
walk-up traffic that,
yeah.
that would come in and kind of be pissy
Right.
about being here? And
well, that happened the first weekend we opened. We had it was insane. We had a little event going on, plus we had just tons and tons of people. It was like every game had somebody on it almost. It was awesome.
Oh wow.
nice.
that's super cool. And that's great. This area needs a good focus. Somewhere where kids can come in, it's safe and it's fun.
Right. Yep. Parents thank me all the time. They can do their thing and drop the kids off for a little while, and it's cheaper than any kind of babysitter or daycare. Plus, the kids are actually having lots of fun.
Yes. Absolutely.
I've had many moms come in and say, "You're the cheapest daycare in town."
Have you had too much trouble from that? Like, I mean,
No.
I've never seen any trouble here. I've never seen anybody get heated or anything
Right.
like that. Is it?
Yeah, I've never had any trouble. I won't let young kids stay by themselves, so they have to be with either an older sibling or the parent. So that helps, weed out any trouble. But yeah, it seems like all the people that come in here are pretty good. I mean, I'll tell them if they need to quit doing something. I don't want them slamming on my machines or spilling pop on my video game systems and stuff. So I'm nice, but I can be firm if I have to.
I mean, it's going well enough that you have employees now.
Right, that's fantastic.
I've kind of felt that I guess the second place you were running with by yourself or your family.
Right. It was just me, yeah. It was tough, but I needed to do it to be able to make the money to be able to, expand and upgrade. So,
Yes. I mean, if I were to ever run my own business, that would be my biggest fear, is that I'd be the only one I could trust to do anything for what I could pay. I mean, it helps to have really good friends to
Yep.
I'm assuming that's where your employees are.
Yeah, the people that work for me are
friends.
actually people I met from coming into the arcade. They would become regulars, and just you could tell they wanted the arcade to succeed and they wanted to help. So I felt like I could trust those people to work for me.
Got to have that passion to get this off the. I mean, if it were regular business, if you did like them, you would have probably quit like your partner did. So.
Right.
How many machines do you have right now? Standalone arcade machines?
Last count, I think it's 61 machines. And then there's a few games that have multi in them, the 6-slot Neo Geo Cab. So, there's around 60 to 70 unique titles, on the floor. And then the console stations, the giant screens, the ping pong, the foosball, the pinball. There's all kinds of stuff to play. Definitely something for every age.
I still love the modded fighting cabinet here. It's got Namco on it.
Oh yeah, it used to be a Cyber Sled.
Cyber Sled.
Now it's a dual screen Puzzle Fighter 2 for now, but
That's
one of the
fantastic.
monitors is a little wonky, so we need to get that fixed.
How much of a stickler are you going to be for original parts? I know a lot of these barcades and other people are going to LCD screens and stuff that purists can't stand, but economically that's the better route to go. Are you?
Well, if I can find the CRTs that were in them originally, I always put those in. The LCDs, I actually don't really like the way they look either on the older games. It just looks like you're playing an emulator once you put an LCD in there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I don't really like that. So yeah, it's not that I'm a stickler, but if I can get my hands on the parts, I'm going to. Most of the time, I'll just get it fixed. That's cheaper than buying a new monitor anyway.
Are you? Do you have a guy that does that? I take
Yes,
it.
it's actually my old partner who used to be in the business with me. He did that part of the business, and I did like the promotions and everything when we first opened. So he has that skill, and he buys and sells and fixes games now. So he's still in the arcade business, just not.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're friends and still. We've been friends since we were in 6th grade. So
divorce was amicable.
Oh yeah. Although he did get Tron. So.
Oh, he got the kid.
Yeah. But that was his from the beginning. That was the one he sought out, and so
No child support though.
There's a few games I was sad to see go, but you have to make some sacrifices.
Is there anything that you're looking for in particular, arcade-wise, to bring in?
I'm not ever really looking for anything particular besides like Bomani games. Those are the only ones that I search for, but they're so hard to find because there's like a whole group of people that would come here just for specific games. If I got a 2DX, people would come every day to play 2DX if I got something recent or newer, but they're so expensive to ship from Japan, it's not reasonable. But otherwise, I'm always looking for classic games. I really want a Defender. I just picked up a Blast City cab, which is in my van. Actually, I'm going to ask one of you guys to help me get it out after this is over.
Awesome.
Thanks for being our show.
It's in beautiful condition, so I'm really excited about that. I don't really. I just get what comes my way for a reasonable price, so that way I'm always constantly rotating stuff around as much as possible. Although it's really hard to find games now, so I just take what I can get at this point.
Have the pinball people come in, like the fighting game people came in?
They used to when we had 6 machines at the old place, the original location, but with only 2 machines now, I don't get pinball heads here anymore.
That's kind of
Although
sad.
I'm trying to get a Whitewater, so if I do get that, I think that'll help bring some of those in, because I looked around, I didn't see any Whitewaters anywhere near Cincinnati to play, so that'd probably bring in a few people. But with the all-you-can-play, pinballs are kind of a bad thing because people beat them up really bad.
The incentive is to get the free games, too. And
That's true. Well, it's really the score on pinball, mainly. But kids beating on the machines the way they do, you can't tell them not to play pinball. So I have to get machines that will hold up, and a lot of them have a lot of moving parts that just don't hold up.
Well, and pinball just by nature is really violent. Like I never played to tilt or anything. I'd always been pretty ginger with a pinball machine. And then we went to the Midwest Gaming Classic, and they were doing a pinball tournament there, and those guys were slamming the machines around. I'm like, what are you doing? You're gonna break it.
I've seen people like slam the front of the machine when the ball drains. So you can actually pop it up under the flippers sometimes, and it's crazy.
Go to Papa. We'll go to Papa in August. You'll see it out there. In Pittsburgh.
Twilight Zone has an actual exact place on the machine where you pop it.
Built in,
and it pops the machine.
That's the way the game is. I mean,
which is true. You're not going
I'd break the glass or something.
AI.
And I'm with you because I'm in that generation that I'm not going to destroy or damage anything or be aggressive with anything that's not mine.
Right.
And it's a different mindset to like nudge that several grand machine.
But there's a difference between growing up playing arcade machines that you're going against a computer as opposed to playing pinball machines where you're going against gravity and physics. You've got
Newton.
But they're groovy.
If I know you said that Smash TV was one of the ones that you really wanted. Now that you've got it in and got it started, do you have like a holy grail, like a machine that maybe may not be the most popular, but the one that like you would love to have here in the arcade?
I don't know. I don't think so. We tried to get a Discs of Tron back in the day, the actual environmental one, and that was one we both really wanted. But there's only a few of them left in the world.
Yeah.
And
Papa has one actually.
Really?
Yeah.
And the guy was going to sell it to us. He said he would ship it. We were going to pay him what he wanted, and then he just kind of disappeared. So that would be pretty cool to have. But I really don't think it would get played that much because the novelty wears off pretty quick. So, but yeah, I don't think Smash TV was really just my favorite game, and I've gotten a lot of other cool stuff that I've always wanted. But I definitely want to get Tron back. People actually ask for it a lot, especially the ones who came to the original place and remember the Tron.
Oh yeah.
Where's the Tron?
So what other ones get requested a lot other than Tron?
Frogger lately. I didn't get a lot of requests for that before, but I don't know. There's a Frogger surge. Let's see.
I don't go to the auctions or anything that often, but is it still the most popular games like your Pac-Mans and Froggers and
At auctions?
Donkey Kongs go for way more than the unpopped.
Yeah, there was a Burger Time at the last auction, and I really wanted it, but it went for, like, after fees and everything, like $900. And they're normally a $500 game.
Yeah.
So when there's that many people that want one game, that's just how it goes, especially a game you don't see very often.
Right.
Well, and it's been a while since I've been to arcade auctions, but
Yeah.
I mean, I went to a lot of them, like, right around right around 2000 and such, and I never saw Pac-Man sell for under $1,000.
Yeah, it's still like that.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
Pac-Man that had water damage, wouldn't power up, and it sold for like $1,100, and that was the cheapest one that I saw. I couldn't believe it.
See, that's where we do well, is when we get the ones that won't power up or something. People won't pay for those anymore. They might used to, but we'll get games for $50 to $100 sometimes. And
Nice.
Sometimes it's like the JAMA board wasn't plugged in, or because
Yeah.
they don't know what's going on. We got a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 showcase cabinet for $100 because the JAMA wasn't plugged in. So it fired up.
Oh, wow.
As soon as we got back plugged in, fired up fine.
Oh.
So that was beautiful.
My friend was at one of the U.S. amusements auctions. It was, I think, back in like 2002, and someone had bought a whole bunch of arcade machines, and they went to load the last one on, and it was like dropping down the bed of their truck so much they couldn't take it back with them, and they're like, it's too heavy, we got to get rid of it. So he bought it off of him for like $125. Well, the reason why it was too heavy was because they didn't empty the quarter exchange in the bottom, and there was like $300 in quarters in the bottom of this thing.
They made $175.
They made their money back.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. Have you, with the ones that you've got, have you ever found anything really wild like that? Anything weird inside? Or?
No. Oh, a rat's nest once. That was in a.
Oh.
It was in a cocktail table,
Oh.
and there was still babies in it. So that was, and we didn't know until we'd had it for a little while,
Oh, man.
and they were chewing on the wires. So we found that out once the screen started going a little wonky. We looked inside, and baby rats.
Hi, kids. That's
Hi.
gross. Get out.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the parent stayed at the auction site.
Wow. That's
Sounds like a Pixar movie, actually.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever acquired any of them that were once in like Time Out or at Wonder Park? Do you know?
Sometimes they have stickers on them, but I haven't seen anything
Okay.
that's definitely from there. We've seen like the city, like sometimes they say it was Cincinnati or something like that, but they didn't usually. Most places didn't put their name on the games. They would just have a little, like they had to get a fee, or they pay a fee and get a license, and they would tack that on each game. So you'll see those sometimes, but they rarely say what arcade they came from, just the city.
Gotcha.
Do you collect consoles and stuff personally, or you just handle the business now and just do arcade now?
I collect NES. I need 5 games to have every U.S. released, like retail NES game, not
Bubble
including
Bath Babes.
right Bubble Bath Babes, Hot Slots, Peekaboo Poker, Stadium Events, and Menace Beach.
Okay.
Oh, wow. So you had the Flintstones.
Yeah, I got that for $7 in Columbus. It was in a random case.
Nice.
And I saw it and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not there. It was mixed in with like Excite Bike and golf and
Nice.
So they didn't know anything. Obviously, they had a book with all the prices, and he opens up. He's like, "Oh, Flintstones, $12." And I was like, "Oh man, that label's not really great." And he's like, "All right, $7."
Very nice.
So that,
Now-
and then I started collecting about 12 years ago, so I was getting them while they were low.
That's when we started
that's-
collecting too.
So I got like a little Samson complete for $50. I think that's like a
Nice.
$400 game now.
Yeah.
So
There was a store that bought 10,000 NES games. This is back 1998 or so. They bought for 10,000 games for $10,000.
Yeah.
So he was selling them $6 a pop or 5
Sure.
for 10, or I mean it was. Oh, Dragon Warrior 2 and 3 for $5. Sure, we'll take those.
Got all the
Man
Mega
5,
Mans
6.
for that
Yep.
cheap?
you don't
Yep.
find anything like
No,
that.
nothing
anymore.
like that today. I mean, you're finding black
Maybe
box
garage
games.
sale.
Maybe.
That's about it.
So here's the controversy of the collecting market. Would you spend any money really on a stadium events?
Not what it goes for. No way.
It's a
Unless I had,
it's
like-
a variation of a game that exists for 99
Right.
cents. I can't
Yeah.
justify it.
Unless I just had too much money that I didn't know what to do with it. That's the only reason I would ever buy it.
Yeah, I'm struggling to get Sonic Adventure limited edition for Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Because
How much is that going for now?
Like $200 on
Really?
eBay. Yeah,
Man.
because
Sold
I
it
have
for
the
like
disc only.
$30 at my store.
I have the
couple years
disc only.
ago.
I'm just looking for the case for it, and I can't
Yeah.
justify $200 for a case. I really can't.
Now, do you
it's crazy.
collect boxes?
Now that I've got almost all the games, I have been. I have about 250 complete ones, and then the other 500 something are loose.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
I'm not like actively searching for them, but if they come in the store, I'll put them in my collection.
It's the advantage of store, just pick just personal shopper for you.
But other than that, I don't collect any other system. I just get games I want to play, and then
Gotcha.
rotate through them.
Did you play? So you said you were 33 before the interview, and I'm 35. So did you play any of the pre-NES stuff, Atari?
Oh yeah,
television?
I started on Atari when I was 4 years old. We had an Atari, and my dad would invite his friends over and bet them money that I could beat them at like Mega Mania. And stuff like that. So after a couple times, they stopped playing me, but that was fun. That was one of my earliest
little
memories.
hustle.
Yeah,
Nice.
I didn't know. I just wanted to play. So
So how old were you when you got your NES?
we got it right when it came out. We got the Rob system the day it came
Awesome.
out. So
Wait,
yeah,
the day?
The
like
day.
Now we're talking. Are we
we
talking
had pre-ordered it at Toys R Us. Went and picked it up. The day it came out.
1986?
Yep.
So, but that's not the test market.
No, not Toast Market, not Cincinnati.
We were having a
or wherever you grew up.
Okay, well, whatever. The day it came out in
Well,
Cincinnati.
no worries. There was we were having a discussion there. So there's an issue right now that they can't figure out if Super Mario Brothers was a launch game.
Oh.
There's no documentation on it. So we're trying
It
to
wasn't
find
packed
somebody.
in, was it?
It wasn't.
No, and
Yeah,
even
not till
Nintendo
later.
doesn't know if they actually sold it or not at like
Really?
at the FEO Shorts.
We didn't get that. We got Kung Fu, and
Oh yeah.
the
Gyromite
Gyromite came
Duck
with
Hunt.
it.
Yep.
But yeah, that's all I remember getting right off the bat was Kung Fu.
Do you still have your original one?
No,
Oh.
I don't know what happened to it. Wait, no, 'cause I'm using a top loader.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha. Now, do you still have your Rob, or is that also?
yeah, I do.
You do
It's
still-
not the original Rob.
Okay,
I have a
okay.
Rob,
Gotcha.
a complete Rob, which is cool.
Very nice.
Hey, Rob, he plays for the Yankees.
Yeah, a Rob.
Thanks. Way to kill that conversation.
Yeah, good job.
So you ever just like turn on all the machines and just listen to the symphony of arcade machines when nobody's playing it?
Well, that happens sometimes when I open when there's no one waiting at the door.
I think I got to get a recording of that for the show. Just a couple minutes of all the machines on. That sound.
Have there been any games that you never really played before you had the arcade running, then you picked up the machine for cheap, and then realized it was like a really awesome game and it was just off your radar?
I just got a game called Dragon Breed, and it doesn't get played very much, but it didn't get released on any mainstream console, only
Right.
some weird ones like the Panasonic X21 or whatever that one was, and some of those weird ones. But it's like it's a shmup where you're riding a dragon. You can jump off the dragon and get power ups, and
wow.
you use the dragon's tail to fight and his fire. And I don't know, it's a really fun game. I'd never heard of it before, but a guy traded me that for an Xbox, so that was cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to play an actual arcade version of the Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know if you've seen it before or not,
Yeah.
but it's Sunset Riders Club.
Yeah, I've played it before. Yeah,
Have you
just
really?
on emulator?
Yeah,
not
I-
a real arcade.
Yeah, I found it on an emulator, and I'm like, I've got to find this machine
Yeah.
and play it.
Yeah, there's a few cool games like that, like Ninja Baseball Batman.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to
that
have
seems to be
that
the big one right now.
Yeah, that one's pretty fun. And there's a lot of shmups that I really want to get a shmup cab to play. I have a few boards, but I can never find a cab with a vertical monitor, and I don't really have time to build one. So
You should put a big rotating mount for your projection screen. So you
I
can
know.
rotate
Actually,
the projector on the
when we
screen.
opened, I was actually considering that, and I talked to my brother about it, and he said it would not be very easy to do.
Yeah, not at all.
With the way they're mounted, I would have to mount it low, which would be weird to be able to do that. So, but I definitely had considered.
Would you
that.
want a shmup on that big of a screen though?
If you did it on like Xbox 360, the newer ones like the Mushi Mushi Pork and all those, they would look awesome.
Right.
Yeah, because you can tell the game to flip it that way too.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
Like some of the who else had that?
Mushihime was
Yeah.
Ikaruga.
Oh, okay. I remember
No, Ikaruga
I
was
remember
already-
Namco Museum on the PlayStation
you-
1 had that rotate your TV feature.
yeah.
Oh.
So I actually tried it with my CRT and it turned
Turn
all
on the
purple. I was
side.
like, oh God, crap. This isn't gonna-
But the Blast City I just got actually has a rotating monitor. You just pop the bezel out, flip the monitor, put the bezel back in.
Nice.
So
Wow,
that's going to be that'll be a shmup cab if I needed to. So that's pretty sweet.
Fantastic.
What's the one fighting game that you have back here? Is it a Chinese one, a Taiwanese one? It's one I'd
The
never
Martial
seen
Masters,
before.
is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I put that in sometimes. It's a really cool like Third Strike-esque game, and it just came out. I think it came out at a weird time, but the animation's really smooth. The mechanics are really fun, and the people who have got into it, there's people around here that are really good at the game. It's just there's no scene for it, so it doesn't get played all that much. Plus, none of the characters are recognizable, and a lot of them are like, "Oh, this is like Chun-Li," or "Oh, this is," they're kind of cloney. But
other than other fighting games, do you run any other styles of tournaments, like anything serious?
Nothing's really ever clicked yet here. We've tried Guitar Hero, we tried Rock Band, we tried Halo. Worked for a couple months, and then there was these killers that would come in and just destroy everybody, and everyone just stopped coming.
Yeah.
So I've told people many times, if you want to run a tournament, I'm glad to be the space for you to run your tournament, but I just don't know how to get people to come. So if you can get a crowd to come, advertise it, and get them here, that's awesome. I'll do it.
Yeah, we do our own. We do my house, just like a bunch of old school games, and I always kind of wondered what if that would ever take with the board.
Well, I do old school Onslaught, which is coming up in August, but it is still fighting games,
right?
But it's
only
like old, horrible like imports and stuff that no one's played, that no one knows how to play.
Right.
So it's like you're learning it as you play it, and whoever can adapt the quickest wins.
Whoever to mash the buttons best wins.
Or whoever finds the brokenest character.
So what's your favorite of those games that you've played, of those terrible ones?
I've got like over 100 now.
Wow.
So I've been trying to I've been going on GameFAQs and just going down the list of fighting games on every system and trying to buy every one, except for the unreasonably priced ones like Final Fight on Sega CD.
Right,
yeah. The Fight or Sega Saturn.
That terrible Star Wars fighting game on PS1.
Yeah, but we've got that.
Masters of Terra.
That one's horrible. There's one called, it's actually not bad, it's an interesting game called Slap Happy Rhythm Busters, and the fighting game itself is actually not bad, but there's when you can get a level 3 super, and when you activate it, you have to do a rhythm game like it's
awesome.
like the button press in Guitar Hero Man, where you have to hit it, as it comes down.
Yeah.
And then if you hit every one, you get this crazy damage. It's pretty hard.
Is this an arcade game?
Maybe in Japan, but it's on PS1 import.
Okay.
And it's really fun. So we did a mystery game tournament, and people were like really getting into it, and it was really fun. So you
had
that one up.
You tweeted or Facebooked about the Joust World Champion coming in
you just
last
did
weekend.
That. Yep.
Did you get a crowd for that? Or?
There was a few people. They would stand around and watch him, but it's the most boring thing to watch. He does the same thing for 5 hours.
Right. When I was a kid, we went to Kenwood Lanes every other Sunday. My parents were in a bowling league, and they had Punch Out and Mario Brothers and what's that Namco shooter? Not Galaga, the Bosconian.
Oh yeah.
So I just watched Bosconian for hours because I was tiny. I couldn't play for shit, so I'd watch these other kids get to like level 20, and that game was boring as hell after so much, but you could continue. So I always had in my head that there was like this big grand ending to the whole thing if you kept going. And then you see King of Kong, and you see like the people getting around Donkey Kong. That I can't imagine that being very exciting either to watch. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of people into that sort of the high score of the old school stuff.
Well, a lot of the machines delete the score every night, so people come in and they'll walk up the count like, I got the high score on this, and I'm like, well, here's the actual high score that we have, because I have them written down. I haven't transferred them to the board yet, but then they're like, oh. And like Galaga, someone did 1.4 million. He just got bored and stopped playing it because he played for like 3 hours. But people come up like, I got 200,000 on Galaga. I'm like, well, we're good for today.
Good for you.
I don't want to break their spirits down too much.
Has anybody gone for a record? Anybody gone for the Twin Galaxies?
Yes, we've had one record set. I don't know if he reported it, but it was Sunset Riders, 1 credit. He went through the game 1.5 times on 1 credit and got the whatever the high score was at that time.
Wow.
He got paired with his money.
Yeah, twice.
Like Nintendo World Championships, you have the repro of that and never do one of those? Or?
We actually did, and I destroyed everyone.
What'd you get?
My score was like 1.4 million, and then the next closest score was like 270,000.
Yeah,
it's all about the Tetris, though.
Yeah.
I played Tetris all the time, so that's really all you need to know to win.
They got that Tetris documentary coming out that's really good. We saw it up in Milwaukee. When it comes out, it's worth watching.
That's cool.
What?
Yeah.
No, people. Podcasting at its best.
If we were by the door, you'd get lots of great.
You guys
games,
open?
too.
Do you guys ever get phone calls? Do you have Battletoads now that you actually have Battletoads?
No, I think that's only a GameStop thing. So.
All right.
Because I usually have the cartridge too, so
Yeah,
I have
which
it
is
in
true.
some form, Super Nintendo or Nintendo.
I gave the girl down the way.
Yeah.
I bought her a copy of Battletoads to keep in her GameStop because
Oh,
they
yeah.
kept calling. Like, yeah, we do have it. Click.
Yeah, I got it once, and I guess they didn't realize that I had arcades and stuff. I didn't know that was a thing though when they called, and then later on someone told me, I'm like, oh, that's why they asked for Battletoads. They didn't actually want it.
But you have it for real, which is so cool.
Because I was like, I had it on Nintendo, and I was like, do you want me to hold it for you? And then they just hung up.
What? I didn't expect that. Like, how do they look your number up though for thinking that's a game store? Wouldn't they think that it's?
Well, if you look under Cincinnati game stores, I'm the first one because it starts with an A.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true. That's true.
That makes
They
sense.
might have been going down the list. I don't know.
Like, let's call all of them and see what
Yeah.
they say.
Do you have any games in here that you are not a fan of? Like you've just picked up and put in here?
Oh, there's a pretty good amount of games that I wouldn't normally play, like Madden, but people love. I have a Madden arcade game. People like Madden though.
Do you have an NFL Blitz?
I do. I just put a Blitz Showtime cab in this week. So it's one of the big showcase cabs. And we just got a hunting game, which I don't play, but it gets played all the time this
Yeah,
week.
you find out in every single Walmart pretty much. Or
But it was just we had space, and now that I've got my buddy that does all the repairs, that was my old partner. He moved some of his games into my storage space here at the mall. So when we want to rotate games out, like he'll get new stuff, we can just I got more options now. So we had space, and he's like, yeah, just throw it in there. So
they give you like an entire storefront for storage space.
Well, I
seeing how small
I
it's
got
so
one.
empty.
Yeah, there's so
Really?
many empty spaces that I just asked her if I could, and she said, yeah, you can rent one out for real cheap. And
Cool.
So that way I can go to auctions, buy a bunch of games, and have a place to put them, and then work on them or just sell them if we know we need to get rid of stuff. So it's nice.
You can bring them over real easy
Perfect,
and
right.
put
It's
them in
just
and out.
down the hall,
Something
so-
goes down, you can
right.
just toss it over
So
there.
now I
bring
don't have to
something
have
else out.
5 broken games on the floor. Like when I first opened, I didn't have anywhere to put them, so it just looks bad. So I like this. I like this now.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have too much room, or you just think you need that perfect arrangement. So
Well, you have to kind of go where the electricity is too, though. So this wasn't necessarily the way I wanted it set up, but it actually worked out okay. So they're definitely most places like this aren't set up for 60 arcade games.
no.
Got to work with what you got.
It's fantastic.
You have future plans? Do you want to open a second location or another city?
I would
or
definitely love to.
that
Yeah,
your
I actually
long-term plan?
one of my friends moved to Florida, and we were talking about it. He's like, we need to open an arcade down here. There's actually where he is. There's no arcades either, not even like a Dave and Buster's or anything.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I would love to do it, but finding a place in Florida that has reasonable rent for a reasonable size, that's almost anywhere. That's the problem you're going to run into anywhere.
Right.
It's the problem we have in Columbus. We've got,
Right.
really, realistically, 2 arcades.
Yeah.
2.5 because we have 2 Dave and Buster's, but one of the
Right.
Dave and Buster's is a quarter of your storefront here is what they have for arcade games. And
Right,
they've
most
got
of those
like
places do.
Redemptions
there's
and
so much stuff in there that you
Yeah.
can't even walk. Like a person plays a game and you can't like walk through the
Oh,
corridor.
yeah.
I mean, it's really, really just awful. But there's nothing really has like classic games. It's all Dave.
Right.
The Dave and Buster's and the place took over GameWorks, and it's just all like big cabinets, big shooting games. There's really nothing
Yeah.
classic or retro.
It's expensive. Like the rent up in Columbus is just
Yeah.
it's not as cool as it would be to have something like this there.
We don't have enough decaying malls.
Yeah,
They actually tear them down up there.
Yeah.
City Center's a park now.
Yeah, that's definitely the hard part. That's why we ended up where we ended up at the beginning, because we just couldn't find anything that we thought we could actually make money off of. So we had to end up in a weird spot. That's all there was.
Hopefully this will work out well for the mall too, because we'll bring in a lot more foot
yeah.
traffic in.
I know they're happy that we're here, so that's good.
Wasn't there something about a skating rink coming in here or something?
Yeah, they're putting an ice hockey arena. They already broke ground on it. It's 3 ice hockey rinks, which have the option to be turned into like skating rinks and like concert venues, stuff like that.
Over in the Biggs area side, or
Right, it's like three
Oh,
quarters.
wow.
3/4 of Biggs is going to be that, and they also are going to put in 12 sand volleyball courts. They'll have conference rooms. They've already got batting cages up there. They've got a bar coming in. They reopened the nightclub last week. They got a tattoo parlor that just went in. So there's stuff happening.
So it's really
just,
like about to be kind of like
yeah,
rise from the
there's
ashes.
gonna be
kind of.
there's gonna be people in here again, like a steady flow of people again. And so I figure they're doing this so that they will get more stores eventually.
Mm-hmm.
They'll want to be here because there'll be people.
Are you worried if they've got a bar that you're going to have people coming in from the bar?
Nah.
Okay.
I mean, they might come in, but we had that at the other place. We were right next to a bar. We were at Michael's. Not Michael's. Rick's Tavern was like 10 steps away from the original arcade. So we'd get, the drunk people stagger in, and we'd tell them, and sometimes they would just give us the money and stumble around the arcade games. But whatever, as long as they weren't causing trouble.
Drunk money is sober money.
Yeah.
Money's money.
But I don't think it'll be that, because the bar is going to be on the other side of the mall. So they'd really have to want to come down this way
Gotcha.
to come to the arcade or get lost.
Gotcha.
Thought about doing a convention, because I think
Yes.
last year you were talking about like a con here.
Yeah, we had planned to do it. That was the original idea for Bits and Pieces, was a convention, and then that didn't work out. The plans didn't come together, and then I got another guy who had come to me about it and said that he would like to help with it and help fund it and everything. So when we can finally sit down and talk about it, I'm sure it's going to happen, because he really wants to do it and he's got the money to do it, and it's not even one of those things where we're trying to make money or do anything. We just want to do it because we love those things, and
Right.
there's none in Cincinnati
I miss
anymore.
Cincy Classic
right?
so much.
Cincy
Yeah,
Classic.
Cincinnati Classic was wonderful.
It's been like 7 years or 8 years, something
Yeah,
like that,
it's
since
long.
we did one. So yeah, that was our motivation for that. And there's a big giant space right next door to this where we had Power Up, and we can fit easily like 300-400 tables in there. So it could be gigantic if enough people are interested. Even if we started small,
Right.
hopefully we can build it up to that. So yeah, it would be awesome to get that off the ground. We were shooting for the early winter, but we're probably gonna maybe hold off till next spring or something.
If you
like
need any
that.
help, I think we'd be interested in doing something
Yeah.
too. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, any hands helping would be awesome.
You all kind of have con experience
Yeah,
setting up and selling.
yeah. So we've
Spending
got
too much money.
another guy who does the same thing. He actually performs at the cons too, so he's gonna help us get people to come out, like the maybe musicians and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That'd be
pretty cool.
fantastic.
Yeah, if it's big enough, I may be able to talk to some people too. Yeah.
I'm sure the first
Maybe.
year won't be that big because we got to get the name out and get the
Right.
word out. But if we do it right, then it'll blow up.
how'd the Bits and Pieces go? It was the art show you had.
It was pretty good. There was a lot of artists who didn't show up, so that was disappointing. But we did have the art we did have was all very good art. So I was very pleased with that. We sold some pieces, so it was really nice, and the turnout was decent.
The space like this still kind of looks like the shell of a clothing store, so getting more
Yeah.
More on the wall.
more art up in the wall
Right.
really helps out the ambience in here.
Yeah, I'm trying to fill all the walls with art. I've been putting the word out, and I've got some people currently making stuff. And Rebecca brought us a piece today.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'd love to cover the walls with all art.
How'd
There's
the concerts go? Was it
well,
good space?
we've just done the one here since we've opened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really going to be concentrating on that anymore because the space isn't really set up for that.
Right.
But like the chiptune show work well because you don't need a lot of space, you don't have giant
Right.
band, so we'll do more stuff like that. We're not going to do the heavy metal shows anymore, but we are planning a chiptunes fest for the fall.
What's the scene like that for down here? I mean,
It's not huge, but it's starting. Cincinnati's actually starting to build a name for themselves. New York is like the hub of chiptunes, and apparently Cincinnati is becoming like a secondary place for chiptunes.
Oh, wow.
So there's
Very
there's like 4 or 5 guys that have performed for me before, and they're really trying to build the scene here. They're going to New York to do some promotions, and they're going to try to get those guys to come here for our show in the fall.
Very
So
cool.
that'll be pretty cool.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
So, do you have a name for your con? Are you going to do it bits and pieces
No,
again?
because
or-
Bits and Pieces is now the art show.
Okay.
So we've got to come up with something We've got to come up with something catchy like that. I like the name Bits and Pieces, and I didn't think we were going to do a con, and then it just kind of fell into my lap again. So we'll see what happens. If you come up with something, let me know.
Okay.
A cool name that you think people would connect with.
Well, and I want to roll us back over to the to your fighting game community, because one of the cool things that I saw, and actually not at this one yet, although it's probably been done, but at your other one a lot, was that you guys were like rebuilding all of the arcade joysticks and everything. I mean, that's like these fighting game group that you have is really super serious. And
oh yeah,
I remember the one guy was off to the side like tearing apart all the controllers and replacing all the buttons. And
yeah, those modders usually come to our bigger tournaments and offer their services. And I can do some of the stuff for people, but like the dual modding so they can play on multiple consoles. There's guys that come in just to do that for tournaments because people want it.
Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic because
cool.
You read the guides and stuff online, but to actually see someone there just surrounded by everyone's joysticks and stuff, and then see all the groups come in with all of their custom controllers.
Perfect Strangers one before the Perfect Strangers PC game. If you've
best.
seen that,
I have not.
Yeah,
it's
so
definitely one of the best sticks. That's
and it
ever
was
happened.
amazing. It was one of those we were walking out. I was just like,
Perfect Strangers PC game.
yeah, it's free to play.
I would hope so.
Yeah, the stick even had the lyrics to the theme song on it.
Yeah.
It was,
it's
what
funny.
a strange idea for a stick.
Like Becky pointed out, he's like, yeah, it's on there for inspiration.
And that guy lives where you guys. That guy's from Columbus.
Is he really?
His name's Dandy J. He's one of the best King of Fighters players in the Midwest.
Oh wow,
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
That's
And he has one of the best sticks
Yeah.
in the Midwest.
so fantastic.
I haven't seen him use it. I haven't seen him bring it, so I don't know if he still has it or not. But maybe he changed the artwork. Maybe we got sick of looking at Balky.
I can't imagine why. So tournament wise, I'm just trying to think of the other genres. I guess there's the big Tetris scene. They get out in California, and now they're trying to think about moving that up to Portland. And
Really? I didn't hear anything about that.
well, they got that movie coming out, and it's
that's
that
true.
little group of guys. And the guy that won the NWC, he's kind of he's not the world champion, but because he's kind of an introvert, Thor Ackerland, and but he's part of that group too. And I think they're moving it up to the Northwest because they got that big con up there now in Portland. And let's see other little things. I heard of there's an RBI baseball world championships in Ohio
cool.
or something, or
I'd
they
play
had
that.
one. I know, I've done too. There's actually a website where you can make your own ROM. You can change all the player stats and everything.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that for the past month at work when we've been slow. But
Windjammers, duh. That's Cincinnati's Windjammers capital of the United States.
Cool.
So we just kind of decided that on our own. That we there was a few guys. I had a Neo Geo cab, and there was a few guys who were actually good at it because their dad would play it with them when they were kids. On, I guess they had a Neo Geo or something. I don't know, but they started playing it, and we were watching them oh, this is how you play that game. Because we had played it, and everyone was like, it's fun, but there's nothing special. But then they showed us how much fun the game was, and we just started, let's play this game. You need to play this game. You're going to like it. And everybody that plays it loves the game. So we just decided to start doing tournaments, and we were having 30 people tournaments. It's always
awesome.
it's always free, because I don't think too many people would put money on Windjammers. But it's a really fun game, and now we do what's called the Wimbledon of Windjammers. And we're in season 3. We just started season 3 last week, so I won the first week. Yay!
That's awesome.
Yeah, that game's really
get a
fun.
trophy or anything?
The winner at the end of the season gets a custom-made Windjammers T-shirt. There's
cool.
There's 2 of them made so far. I've got the first one. Another guy named Keith got the second one, but they're not the same shirt. It's going to be a different, custom shirt every season.
That's fantastic.
So that's pretty cool.
Now, do you have prizes for your other tournaments?
A lot of the tournaments are just money. People pay an entry fee, and then the money gets spread up between the top 3, 5, 8, however many entrants there are. Gotcha. And then if we do, some tournaments will have prizes if they're free tournaments or just cheaper tournaments. But it's just whatever I decide.
Have you ever gotten any sponsors for tournaments?
Yeah. Power Up, we got tons of sponsors for Power Up because that was an Evo sponsored tournament.
Oh, wow.
So, but other than that, we don't really try for our local tournaments. But Power Up's the major that we have.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and we were the first major Skullgirls tournament, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
I mean, so when they say major, is there around the country sort of tours sort of deal with that?
Right. Well, Evo selects certain tournaments to put their brand on and say, and they give out points towards seeding at their tournament, which is this weekend. And we got selected. We've done that for 2 years now.
Awesome.
I saw one other thing. You had like a representative go to like a national tournament for one of the games.
Yeah, I've sponsored a couple players now. There's a 15-year-old kid who's amazing at Mortal Kombat, so I've sponsored him. He got 5th and then he got 3rd at 2 major tournaments.
This is modern 3D Mortal Kombat? Or?
Yeah, the newest one, Mortal Kombat 9, yeah.
Okay.
I was almost going to shed a tear for
Yeah.
No. Well, he plays Mortal Kombat 3 also. Most Mortal Kombat players play the 3rd Ultimate 3 because that's a good framework for all the other ones. But,
I was going to say, like, as far as fighting games go, what are the ones that are prime for tournaments? Is 3 of the Mortal Kombat series the one that's like...
Well, not so much. If you're going to play arcade, it's definitely Ultimate 3. That's the only one that people play competitive pretty much. Maybe 2 a little bit. But recently, it's Street Fighter 4, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, King of Fighters 13, Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown just came out. That one's picking up steam here. Skullgirls was pretty good right off the bat, but it seems like it's kind of dropped off. I don't see people playing it so much anymore.
So has it almost gone completely to the 3D guys now?
No.
3D fighting games?
No, that's the only 3D game that's popular right now besides Virtua Fighter is Soul Calibur 5, and it's not like super popular. That's the one.
But
I
mean, like
most.
Street Fighter 4, even though it's played like 2D.
Well, it's still considered a 2D fighter because it's on a 2D plane. There's
2.5.
But can you still count frames of animation and stuff with those types of graphics? And is it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you can.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's
I'm
serious
I suck
frame
at these
data
games.
counters and not for games like not so much for games like Tekken and Soul Calibur because they're 3D, but all the 2D games, like they have guides that tell you all the frame data for every character, and you can really break it down if you want to be. Yeah, it really is. It's crazy. You have to know like the exact counter for every move, and it's too much for me. I just play the game.
Right.
I'm the same way.
I pick Ken like everybody else.
Have you ever mixed it up? Like said, you have to use this specific character in tournaments. Like, do you ever do?
We've done random character tournaments where you pay like $1 to get in, and then you pull a character out of a hat. You both do, and that's really fun. And we're doing a tournament this weekend. We're doing Rocket Punch 3, which is it's Evo streaming. We stream the tournament on our projector, and then we have our own tournaments. So we're doing a random partner tournament where it's a 2v2, but you don't know who your partner is going to be until you pick them out of a hat. So that's really fun. It makes it a little more even because usually it's like the 2 most powerful players will team up together and destroy everybody. It's not fun for anybody. This way, it might be some great player with like the worst player, and they might have to carry them, but it makes it more interesting that way.
I love random team tournaments.
Yeah.
The last Cincy Classic they did random team Bomberman.
Oh, that's
that was
awesome.
like the most fun thing.
Yeah,
ever.
we do Bomberman at our mystery games sometime. And at Old School Onslaught, we also, besides doing the Old School Fighting Tournament, we always throw in at least 1 or 2 Old School game tournaments. We did a Bomberman Saturn, like 10v10.
We did, yeah.
And that was really fun. We do Mario Kart sometimes. I haven't decided what I'm going to do this time. We mix it up. We did the 64 one last time, and then we did Double Dash the time before that. So we don't usually do the Wii one. Nobody likes that one.
Gotcha. What are there for any of the tournaments? Is there anything that goes back to like 16-bit console and before that?
For our tournaments?
Yeah, I mean, other than like the the notoriously bad fighting game tournaments.
We did an original Mario Brothers tournament once, and we don't do a whole lot. We did a Micro Machines tournament once on NES.
Serious?
I love that game.
Yeah. So we don't do a lot of them, but I'll toss some of those things in at the Old School Onslaught, just because people there's a lot of people from Columbus actually that come and they're really good at those random old game tournaments. Someone from Columbus almost always wins.
It's funny. We in Columbus we have a lot of we have a big retro collecting scene, and there's a lot of collectors in our area that collect to play, don't just collect to collect. So it's interesting, the way the stores and stuff go. Like all the prices for our stuff is super expensive and all that because of it. But
you don't really see the deals very much anymore. It's difficult.
That's
to
almost
find.
anywhere, I think.
Yeah, I think it's been rubber banded. Like all the stuff that's valuable is way too expensive, and the cheap stuff is overpriced, and nobody can sell it anymore.
Right.
Well, I think it's been about.
Yeah, we're hitting right about an hour.
We're about an hour. So, you got anything to plug or add or anything before we wrap it up? Or
I think I pretty much plugged every event that
Yeah.
I have coming up.
Do you want to say address or location? Just because I know
put it in
there's
the intro.
there's a guy down up in Columbus who has one of the consolized MVSs. Is that
Yeah,
it?
consoles MVS.
Have you seen
The new one, like the wood ones?
Yes.
Yeah, they're like a
Walnut
grand.
one.
Those things
Yes,
are amazing.
And that he has the controller for it, and
Yeah.
he has like a
crazy.
picture of all of his
cards,
games,
yeah.
and just like he has every metal slug and all
I definitely,
that. So he's
I definitely
interested.
considered that many times. Every time I go and look at that on the forums or on their website, I'm like, oh gosh.
It's so gorgeous.
Well,
so
between that
expensive.
and like a
I mean, I have an arcade.
like a Daytona USA with 8 cabs. There's something.
Yeah, no thanks.
No, never.
Daytona. Where would I put that? That would take the place of like 20 good classic arcade games. You know, if I had a space the size of like Dave and
Right.
Buster's, sure. If it got to that point, I'd never say never, but in my current location, it's definitely not happening.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just
wouldn't-
living out my fantasy through you. So. I mean, you have you own your own business and set your own hours and don't have to deal with an asshole above you. But
Yeah.
so
If you can find me like an auxiliary just Daytona location,
yeah,
that's it. Daytona all day.
that's all right.
We'll link up. What is it? Can you do the full 40 on the Xbox version? The PS3 version is up to 20.
It's 8.
Oh, is it just 8?
Boo.
You get
8
like
online.
it'd be a lot easier to just put like 8 TVs on the wall and get some PlayStation wheels or some Xbox wheels. Probably a little different though.
Well,
this has been
That's been awesome.
Good
Thank you
times.
for having us.
This is a
and
great
for
arcade.
letting us in here.
Thanks for coming.
And for,
If
you're
you're-
living a dream and we get to tag along.
If you're in the Midwest, you need to stop by here. If you're not in the Midwest, you need to stop by here.
So that'll wrap it up for this episode. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thanks again.
Thanks.
We'd like to thank Jesse for being on our show. He's a really nice guy. I think that's the one key ingredient if you're running a small business is not only do you need passion and knowledge and the drive to succeed, but being a nice guy is probably what drew all of his customers to his store and of what made them so loyal to him throughout the years. And we're definitely going to be back and doing things with him in the future. And if you're listening, Jesse, how about an outrun machine? Come on, outrun would be, yeah. Stay tuned next time. The next 3 episodes, we're going to have our launch review spectacular. We recorded 6 hours of talk about launches through the years. With the Wii U coming out, there's a lot of talk about how tepid its launch is going to look, and we go all the way back to the 2600 and even before that, and talk about the conditions of the market and the various launches of various systems through the years. So it's an epic episode and it's awesome. So until next time, thanks for listening, guys.
Hey, listeners, this is Tatton. Just wanted to take a quick moment and let you know that there's lots of great places you can follow Now You're Playing With Podcast. We have a Facebook page set up, which is Now You're Playing With Fan Page. We have a Twitter account set up, which is NYPW Tweets, or Now You're Playing With Tweets. And, of course, all the episodes are available for download from NowYou'rePlayingWith.com. So we hope you enjoy the show. If you like it, please take a moment and send us a message. Let us know what you think about it. And we hope to have some more shows coming for you soon. Until then, thanks for listening.
Now you're playing with podcast.